Hi everyone, it's Bob Hamel back here at my house in Wilmington. Time to do another show. It's been a while. I apologize for not doing it, but we're finally ready to start rolling out some new shows. And the first one that I want to do is a winter treat that never gets old. It's one of my favorite preparations, which is French onion soup, which I like to do it with 4 different kinds of onions and garlic, roasted garlic, beef stock, and then when we're putting it together, always some cheese and French bread that we bake in the oven, broil underneath the broiler, and it's just phenomenal. It's just so mouth-wateringly good. So, anyways, let's take a look at what we have for ingredients. I've already cooked off my white onions. I did a whole bag of white onions, which is 5 pounds, I think, something like that. And it would have taken like 30 minutes to get them to the right color, so I prepped that up beforehand. But what we're going to do today is I've got some leeks. This is 2 leeks, a red onion, some shallots, 6 shallots, and some garlic, and roasted garlic. And we're going to saute that. And then that's going to become, with the other onions, that's going to be the base of the soup. And then we're going to add some beef stock to it, boil it, bring it to a simmer, and then we might just have some lunch. So anyways, let's get started. So I got my stove. I'm going to do it in a cast iron skillet because I like the way that cast iron skillets tend to cook. They're very even. They cook well, they hold their heat. So I've got maybe 2 tablespoons of oil, just regular olive oil in here. Going to put that on high heat for a minute, let this come up to temperature, and you can tell when it's coming up to temperature by it starts shimmering. So with the lights on, I can see some shimmering taking place, and we're going to add some stuff to it in just a minute. So this looks like an awful lot of product, right? But it all kind of will melt down, get smaller. Like this bag of this was a whole bag of onions. As you can see, it kind of cooked down. We don't need to cook that. That's already done. We're going to leave that there. My oil is beginning to shimmer. Let's do some leeks. Yeah, let's do them all. Why not? Yes, I'm using the proper hand method here to get the leeks in the oven, in there. There for now. So let's sweat this down. Sweating is basically when you're cooking something like an onion, it basically does break down a little bit. It starts to get smaller. It loses its water. Everything has water in it. It starts losing its water content, and then the sugar, the natural sugars that are in food will come out and start crystallizing. And so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to take this, we're going to let this come down, throw in these onions too, and these shallots. Shallots are sort of a sweeter version of a white onion. They're delicious. A little more subtle in flavor. I'm going to knock this stuff all over. I probably should be getting a bigger pot if I'm going to keep doing this stuff like this. A bigger pan. Okay. And this is 1 whole roasted garlic clove. I love roasted garlic. I think I use it in every single thing I cook other than ice cream. And it just adds such a subtlety of flavor to whatever you're doing. Now this is going to take probably a good 15-20 minutes. So I'm going to let this cook down, and we'll be back in a few minutes. So see you in a couple. Hi, Back at it here. I've been letting these saute down for about 5 minutes now. If you can look at it, you can see that the onions have kind of reduced in size. They're sweating. They're getting smaller and they're caramelizing. There's a little bit of liquid in the bottom that is just the water escaping from the onion itself, and that's part of the cooking process. So I want to try and get this down again by about a third, because two things: we want to get all the water cooked out of the onions, and we want to get that caramelization going, which is the browning. As you can see here, this is the browning of the white onion, and we're gonna try and get that going here. I think we will. It just takes, like anything else, it just takes some time. So I'd say we're about halfway in the cooking process of these. We've been 5-7 minutes now. Probably got another 5 minutes to go. And again, it's on high heat. I'm trying to go as quickly as possible, but without burning anything. So as you can see, it's coming up. It's getting better, but we still have a little ways to go. So catch you in a few minutes, and we'll have something back to report on. See you in a few. All right, we're back. I think we're just about ready to start transferring this into our final cooking vessels. And I said vessels because we're going to have to do it in 2 pots, because I don't think this is all going to fit in here. Maybe it will. Hold on, we're going to give this a try. Yeah, and we're going to need a pot holder for this, because that pan is hot. All right, let's try this. You want to get all those good little bits there, because that's, my friends, that's flavor. That's flavor right down there. Okay. Put that there for the moment. Try this here. Let's put these in here, and yeah, it is going to fit. How about that? Hot dang. I'm excited. I don't like having to cook in 2 different pots. Okay, so you, my friend, are going away. We'll do something with you in a minute. So now what we're going to do is, I've got my onions, all my 5 different types of onions and garlic. Mix this up as much as possible. Try to get some heat on that. Now we're going to add our beef stock. I'm using unsalted beef stock. Market Basket's best. I'm just going to try and add as much as I want to get the level of the stock about double what the level of the onions, because I like it that way. Let's see. So this is going to be really, really thick and luscious and juicy and subtle in flavor, but also it's going to have some nice beef overtones. If you're so inclined, you can. If you're so inclined, you might be able to open the stock pot. If you're so inclined, if you don't want to use beef, you can use vegetable stock. You can use chicken stock. Matter of fact, the classic French onion soup is made with chicken stock, not beef. But I happen to like the flavor of beef better than chicken, especially in this preparation. So that's what we're going to go with. So we're going to let that cook up. I've got it on, put it back on high heat. I'm going to cover this. Hopefully it'll start to boil, and then we're going to bring it to a simmer. And then once we get it simmering for about 5-10 minutes, it's ready to go. And we're going to prep it. The finishing of it is you take it, you put it in the oven with some toasted French bread, some cheese on top, throw it under the broiler, and it is phenomenal. So we'll be back in a minute to let this come up to a boil. See you in a minute. So the next thing that we got to do is to I want to put the bread, the French bread, under the broiler. I've got about 8 pieces here. 2, 4, 6, 8 pieces. Might not use them all because that might take up too much room in the soup bowls. But hey, what the heck? Let's have it. So I've got my oven set to broil. The rack is not right at the top, and there goes Ruby Roo. Somebody must be doing something outside. So the rack is set 3/4 high. I don't want to burn. I don't want the bread to burn. Because it can burn so quickly if you don't pay attention to it. So I've got the oven. Got the oven door open, slightly open. This is looking so good. Yeah, it's beginning to simmer on the edges, and that's what we're looking for. I don't want it to cook. It doesn't really need to come to a boil because everything's been cooked. So I'm gonna keep it on high heat just because there's so much quantity here. But we're gonna try and bring that up to a simmer. I may have to reduce it down again. So what's next? Well, let's prep the soup bowls. When I'm doing it, I like to do it different than traditional. Traditional is the soup, the bread, the soup, the cheese on top under the broiler. I like to put some cheese on the bottom as well because when you're eating French onion soup, you dive into that cheese all right away and there's none left halfway through. So I just like to have a little bit on the bottom. It'll cook and it stays nice and gooey. This is a Gruyere, which is a Swiss cheese from Switzerland. You can use Swiss cheese, you can use Emmentaler, but Gruyere is it's a little more expensive, but it also is, it's a little more subtle in flavor than a Swiss. You could do a mixture. You could do half Swiss, half Gruyere or Emmentaler. Doesn't really matter. It's your choice. So let's see how the bread's doing. It's not there yet, but it's coming up. Check our soup. Our soup is looking phenomenal. Let's taste. We have to taste. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm tempted to just start eating, but I'm gonna refrain. But boy, is that good. That's just phenomenal. All right, so let's see. Some of the bread's beginning to cook up. Leave it for another 20 seconds or so. Then we'll flip them over so we get a nice crust on both sides. Then into the soup bowls. Everything goes in, everything joins the party. We're going to throw it under the broiler, and then we're going to have lunch. So stick around. See you in a couple minutes. Let's take a look at the bread. I think it's looking pretty good here. Yeah, it's getting there. Half of it's cooked up, half of it isn't. So we're going to flip it. You can see, look at that. Nice and golden brown. Okay, that shouldn't take more than, I don't know, maybe 30, 45 seconds because the broiler gets to 550 degrees, gets pretty good. All right, what else do we need? I need something to put those on. All right, there's my something. I have my pan, and I'm going to put a little bit of aluminum foil down just because I don't want anything to stick to it that's already stuck. There we go. That'll be fine. So let's check the bread again. Okay, all the other pieces are beginning to look good. Flip those over. You can traditional French bread would be a white flour. I have a mixture of a wheat flour and a white flour. The wheat will give it a little bit more depth of flavor than traditional white, but they're both good. So let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, that's good. That's finally brought to a boil. I'm going to reduce this down, let it simmer. I want to keep it covered because I don't want it to lose its liquid. Because with the cover on, the water doesn't disperse into the air, it just goes right back in. What it's doing is it's fortifying the stock. It's making it more onion intense, which is what we want. All right. Another few seconds on this. I don't want to burn it, so I'll keep looking at it. After this, we're almost ready. We're looking pretty darn good. Okay, my bread is done. So we're going to go with a piece of white, a piece of wheat. Fit them in there. Let's go with one more each. So we've got some nice little coverage on the base of the bowl. Let's turn our heat off. Look at that. Oh my God, that looks good. Bring this over. Look at all those onions. Oh my God. This is going to be delicious. All right, there's our soup. Now let's take our Gruyere. I like to get full coverage over the top of the soup. There we go. Now it's boiling time. Okay, that should take, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes probably. So we're going to let this get off the stove, come down to temperature so we can put it away. I'm going to clean up this stuff. We'll be back in just a minute. Okay, the soup has been into the broiler for about 2 minutes. Let's take a look at it. You want it to get nice and brown, and I think we're looking pretty good. It's super hot, so I think we are good to go with French onion soup. So that's it, guys. What's the finishing touch? I always like a little black pepper. on top, and a little fresh parsley. And there we go. And that, folks, French onion soup, ready to be consumed. So I'm Bob Hamel. Thanks for coming over, and we'll see you next time on my show, All About the Flavors. Be good. See you then.